it up like J.Brock, cause I can score with a second on the clock. No bank account, I put money in my sock.
What's good, y'all? It's J.Brock, it's Clapitup LA. I'm right here with none other than Jeremiah Allison, another Dorsey. Excuse
that. Already, huh?
Now, my brother is a lawyer, LA demo legend. Of course, he went to Dorsey, Washington State, and most recent, Mitchell Hamlin School of Law graduate and founder of the Allison Hope Foundation. Jeremiah, how you doing today, bro?
I'm doing real good, man. I'm blessed, highly favored, and just motivated to, make things happen.
I understand that. I'm blessed as well. So what we got to understand about Jeremiah is that he was born in Minnesota. Now, I just discovered this, being born in Minnesota. This is totally different. I thought he was from the east side. You know what I'm saying? He is, but being born in Minnesota, and I bet you didn't know the first ball he ever had in his hand was a baseball. Speak on that, man.
Yeah, so it's crazy. So I actually moved out here from Minnesota with my sister and my brother.
Okay.
Born in Minneapolis, and basically, things didn't work out with my parents, so they split. Mm-hmm. My mom was from LA. So she brought us out here. First day out here was on the 4th of July in 2001. My brother was born in January.
Wow, yeah. That's crazy.
So, but to the baseball point, my dad actually put a baseball in front of me and a basketball in front of me. Mm-hmm. And I kind of gravitated to the basketball a little bit, but, the baseball just wasn't my thing. Baseball wasn't my thing.
Yeah. You can see you a pretty big dude. You could have played some basketball. Was you a nice hooper or was you?
Hey, I did my thing. You know what I'm saying? Hey, if we going to 12, I'll give you a nice 5. You know what I'm saying?
I feel that. So how old were you when y'all actually moved out here? Because I remember y'all hopped on a train, came out here. How old were you?
Yeah, so I was 6 years old when I came out here. I was 6. My sister was 9.
Okay.
And then my brother was just born January 31st, so he moved out here like the same year that he was born.
Okay. Got you. Now, you went to go play for the one and only, the great LA Demos.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And I remember Coach Tex saying that Jeremiah came onto the field and Jeremiah pretty much ran through everybody who was on that team. I wasn't on that team, so I didn't get that misconstrued.
Oh, yeah, okay. He was overweight. That's what it was.
No, I wasn't on that team.
He was overweight.
Okay, but when you got out there, so being kind of aggressive and naturally having that football skill, that was something that, would you say you were born with or something that you had to learn?
I think a little bit of both. I think one, like the aggression was always there. Like growing up on the east side, there's tons of things that we are unfortunately we don't have. The resources, sometimes the love in the house. Granted, I had the love in the house, but I didn't have a father figure in the house.
Yes.
So with that being said, you just have the aggression, and I could channel that aggression and take it all out on the field. So the aggression piece was there. I just had to channel it into where I wanted to, to do that.
Okay, got you. Cause see, you got to understand. See, when I first started playing football, that didn't come natural. My step pops had to get me right, and then it finally came out. But for some people, it can come natural. For some people, it may not so much. Now, what was that one thing that you could say as a kid that you really enjoyed about football when you finally got to step on that field? Like, how was that process going out to Jeff? Did moms just kind of go up there like, this is what you're going to do? Or did she talk to somebody before you got there?
No, so what happened was my cousin Deshaun played first.
Okay.
He played for the 6 and 7 year olds. Okay. And the next year I came out and played. So my aunt Pat just kind of blessed me into it.
Okay, got you.
And then other than that, my mom just said go out there and play. So I kind of got with Coach Tex.
Yeah.
And then everything else is history after that.
Okay, shout out Coach Tex, another demo legend.
Oh, yeah.
Another Dorsey representative.
Absolutely.
Now, who did you play with on that specific team? Because you played with
We had hitters. We had hitters on that team. It was me, Noya, J.Brock.
Okay.
Then we had Corey, Gino. You remember Gino? Gino with the braids?
Nah.
Oh yeah, Coach Gino and Lil Gino.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we had my little cousin Deshaun Streeter was on that team. So we had a lot of talent on that team. And again, we ended up winning the championship. So,
they won the Now there was a discussion where they were saying that they were better than Tiny Mike Gold.
We were.
That was no way. Bro, we
Who was on y'all squad?
Bro, we smacked Marquise, Tevin, Kevin, Lil J Rice. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on,
bro.
Y'all got to chill on that. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, here's another demo great. And you got to understand the demos out here doing great things. And here's another person doing it. So you discovered at a very, very young age that you wanted to be a lawyer in specific because you said that you wanted to know your rights. You felt that that was important.
Right.
Where did you get that mindset? And because that's not what we are typically brought up about or even thinking about. You know what I'm saying? So what made you think like that?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, like I had family members that had bad run-ins with the law.
Okay.
And then you've always seen like certain situations where people were able to get out of certain situations because they knew what they were talking about. Like I love when, you know, people spit penal codes at people and then the police kind of pull up a little bit. So that was the initial reason. But then after that, like, it was one of those things where I've been playing chess for a long time. So law and chess kind of have like a unique correlation from the strategic standpoint. So that's what, you know, kind of made me so fascinated with law.
Okay, yeah, I understand that because if a police officer came up to me, I wouldn't know what the hell to say. To be quite honest with you, so I can understand, especially in this type of climate we are in as African American men, we have to deal with police on a different level that people may not necessarily understand. So it's very, very good to know your rights and to also be able to respond correctly because sometimes a lot of people kind of go overboard with the way that they respond. But if you know what you got going on, that's what matters the most. Now, how long, okay, as a kid, now I'm gonna say for me specifically as an adult, I didn't find out what my purpose was in life until I became an adult. You know, now it's not a lot of people who find their purpose as a kid, or even if they do find it, when they figure out the process, it's kind of like, oh, well, you know what, I don't know if I want to do that. I kind of want to switch to something else. So at what point did you really understand I'm going to do this and this is what I'm going to stick to no matter what happens?
Actually, it's funny you say that. Like, it kind of happened in my ninth grade year because in order for me to go to Dorsey, because again, I was going to go to Dorsey regardless. In order for me to go to Dorsey, I had to be in the magnet program, either law magnet or math and science. And law magnet was right up my alley just due to, again, like the strategic part of, you know, understanding the law and all that good stuff. And then it got to the point where I used to do like, you know, teen court and mock trials and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, maybe this is my thing because I was pretty good at it. And then after that, like I said, the rest is kind of history.
It just took off from there.
Hey,
you know what? That's real good. Now you were one of those people who didn't necessarily feel like football is my only way. And how, you know, a lot of us, that's how we felt. It was either football or nothing else. I mean, you know, if you asked us what we wanted to do in life, we didn't necessarily grasp it. You know, we might throw something out there. So with you and being such a great football player, did you ever feel like, so to speak, like if football didn't work, if this doesn't work, what am I going to do? Were you ever lost or confused in that process?
No, and that's based on two things. One, my mom, she pushed education. So I knew no matter what, I was able to, you know, get places with my mind. But then the second thing was I understood the NFL stood for not for long. So I knew like you weren't going to last that long in the league. You know, like there's like Tom Brady's is rare. You know what I'm saying? Especially in football. I don't know about basketball. I can't attest to it. But with football, like you don't last that long. When you get out the league, you what, 30, 31, 32? If you're lucky. If you're lucky. So with that being said, like you're only 30 years old. You got your entire life to live. So I knew like I had to have not a backup plan because like being a lawyer was always my plan A. The NFL was just a dream. If it happened, it happened. If it doesn't, I mean, I got this over here. This was like my hook or crook, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that was my whole thought process.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Now, you were actually able to play pro ball, okay? Now, was there ever a time where, because see, when you don't necessarily know what you want to do in your life, it's kind of like a depression you kind of go through.
Absolutely.
So was there ever that moment for you when it was like, okay, it's time to walk away from football and it's now I got to go into this?
Yeah, no, like, so you know who actually got me out of my funk? It was Coach Tex. So basically what happened was he called me and he said, Jeremiah, like, I know you've been playing football since you were 7. He taught me how to play the game.
Yeah, facts.
He said, you got to get a job. My heart dropped.
Get a job? What?
My heart dropped. And the funny thing about it was the only job, again, I'm grateful for the job, but the only job that allowed me the freedom to go back and forth and, you know, potential workouts with NFL teams and stuff like that was working at a car dealership. So I did that for 5 months with the hopes of getting on a team. And when that didn't pan out, I gave myself a window. I said, if I don't get on the team by this date, I'll hang up the cleats. But it gave me time to think about other things as opposed to football. And that's what happened.
And so you got to also understand, as an ex-athlete, a lot of us typically look for something we can put that same energy into. So like there on several occasions you speak on like the day you got the call and understood that, okay, I passed. You spoke on that like waking up for a bowl game, like being drafted once you knew you passed. So you also have to understand that sports will go with us wherever we go, and a lot of us just need to find that thing, and a lot of us don't find that as a child, but we need to find that thing that's going to give us the same feeling. So you make sure you keep working and searching for it, and it's going to come to you. Now, Jeremiah was a 4.3 GPA type of student here. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't finna do all that. but he was a 4.3 GPA guy. And you said this started off from basically a competition that Mary was kind of like, you got lucky, you did it again. So, I mean, were your hopes always as high to keep a 4.0? Or were you just kind of like, man, I'm just going to make sure I do the best I can, and just turned out to always be all that?
Yeah, so and for those who don't know Mary, because again, we from the east side.
Okay,
you know Mary. You know Mary. Yeah, you know Mary. That's my sister. Mary, my sister.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah, see, that's the thing when you get comfortable.
Relax.
So Mary's my sister. Mary's my big sister, and like she's like the ultimate competitor. Like I was always competing with her, and like my whole thing is like my sister wanted to beat me at everything, and she never let up on me. So my goal was to beat her. If I could beat her, I know I could beat anybody. So basically, what happened was 6th grade I got straight A's. My sister, you can't. And we went, I don't know what middle school did you go to?
I went to Webster, bro.
Okay, so we went to Carver. So my sister went to Carver with me, and she was like, "Well, you can't do that in 8th grade. I mean, 7th grade, can't do that in 8th grade." And then after that, it just became a competition myself to kind of keep this going. And not to mention there was some money incentives, like my neighbor.
Oh, so y'all was betting?
No. So my neighbor one day gave me $20 per A. You know, my mom was a hustler. So he gave me $20 per A. And he was like, well, you know, you don't see this in the hood that much. So then after that, I'm like, okay, maybe I can get paid off of this. But then it got to the point where it's like, man, you always do this. So then it just came. It became a competition.
Keep it in our pocket, you know what I mean?
So it became a competition in it with myself. And then, you know, like basically like I said, there was tons of athletes. You know, LA is a hotbed for athletes. So I had to figure out how can I differentiate myself from all the other athletes. And my thing was the grades. I felt like I can differentiate myself with the grades. So.
Yeah, you know what? So you were actually as passionate as for school as you were for football, so to speak.
Listen, I'm one of those kids who hate losing more than I love winning. So like when they tell me the top, you know, student gets an award at the end, I was like, I got to get it. You know what I'm saying? I'm a true competitor. I am a true competitor. But again, like I think through that process, I learned as well because, again, I didn't graduate valedictorian. Even though I had straight A's, I didn't graduate valedictorian. I graduated salutatorian. And I never forget her name was Jessica. She beat me because she took an AP class where I had to take a football class.
In high school?
In high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she took an AP class where I took a football class. So she ended up winning based on points as opposed to just the straight A's. So I learned something in that process. I learned that, you know, you can do everything right. And things may still not go your way. But it was just another lesson in life that I, you know, had to learn.
It's just the way the cookie crumbles, and sometimes it can seem unfortunate, but you also got to understand there's a lesson in that. So whatever that was just a moment that God kind of sat you there like, look, something else you got to do. It's something. It's always going to be something.
Absolutely.
So at Dorsey on the field, Jeremiah recorded a total of 63 sacks in his entire high school career. That's a lot of money right there. You know, multiple All-City nominations, All-California nominations. You were rated a 3-star recruit by ESPNU, Scout.com, and Rivals.com. Number 40 linebacker nationally, number 7 on the West Coast. When you have all of that noise going on and knowing of those accolades, did you ever feel like you didn't have to work as hard on the field in order to be what you wanted to be?
Well, you know, Coach Tex wouldn't allow that. I mean, it's just East Side way. It's just East Side way. Like, I remember I had 7 sacks against Hamilton, and he talked about the 3 that I missed. That's the whole.
What you bringing up the basket?
Exactly. But I mean, again, it kept me humble. It kept me humble. It kept me hungry, and it felt like it kept me on the right path to greatness. And again, we're from the East Side. We don't get satisfied with, you know, our accolades. We never read our press clippings until it's all over. You got 2 championships out the deal. I didn't get a championship out the deal, and I was always chasing y'all. Y'all had a great team, so I was always chasing. You know what I'm saying? I was always chasing y'all. So I think, you know, I never felt like I didn't have to work because y'all set the bar so high in the city.
I understand it now. Let me ask you this. Speaking for the students out there specifically, speak on your study routine to be able to manage straight A's. Did you ever feel pressure? And what was your work ethic like in the classroom to be able to do something like that?
I mean, what you put into it is what you're gonna get out. So I've always prided myself on hard work, and if I can put in all this hard work on the football field, it can correlate into the classroom.
100.
You have to do it. It go hand in hand with each other. So with my study habits, I was okay with staying up until 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, but I knew the outcome would be like it was when I graduated. So it's all about what you put in. Like when I took the bar, I knew those long nights would turn into me passing the bar. You know what I'm saying?
Had to. I understand that. Now, you get 11 offers to Wazoo, of course, Arizona, Boise State, Nevada, San Jose, UCLA, Duke, and Princeton. Now, Princeton was the one that made some noise because it ain't too many people in the inner city getting offers from Princeton. Now, what was it like when you first, how did you feel when you got your first offer, knowing that it's open now? You know, it's really serious.
I mean, it was like a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. I think when you grew up on the east side and you live on the east side, you kind of always feel this weight of, I have to take care of my family some type of way. So once I figured out, or once I came to the realization that I didn't have to pay for college, my mom wouldn't have to pay for college, it was a huge burden. But then I'm like, okay, like just as fast as they give it to you, they'll snatch it away. So I got to grind just as hard and get more. Because at this point now, like, it's open season. Like somebody's seen your potential. UCLA seen my potential. So now the other schools don't see your potential. And after that, you just kind of flourish from there.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't know. You know what I'm saying? I got phone calls. I got called to practices. I didn't get the scholarship. So we have to clap it up for everybody who come on here, get their scholarship, and handle their business. Now, you committed to Wazoo, and your godbrother committed to Washington. Now, how was that how was that process in figuring out which school you wanted to commit to? And we also know that Mike Leach, okay, he got his Juris Doctor degree from Pepperdine.
Yeah, he did.
Now, did that have anything to do with you committing to Wazoo?
Absolutely. Well, it's a unique thing because, like, my first offer was UCLA. J.Don's was, USC.
Okay.
And it's funny how we both end up going to rival school somewhere else.
Yeah, right.
Because again, we were always together.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't, if it was J.Don or Jeremiah, it was Jeremiah, J.Don.
Yeah.
With the Washington State offer, everything just kind of fell into place as far as like the timing wise.
Yeah.
So I got to school that day, and that was the last day I talked to my mom on December 14th when I got the offer from Washington State. And to your point of Coach Leach having his JD, I knew after I got done playing, I wanted to go to law school.
Right.
You'll be crazy if you don't talk to somebody who went to law school.
You got to talk to people.
You got to talk to people who did it.
Yeah.
So when I found out and I did my due diligence on Coach Leach, and again, he's gonna be a Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah.
When I did my due diligence on Coach Leach, I'm like, okay, like that's the guy I want to learn from. And then he said he presented me with an opportunity. He said, Jeremiah, you can either go to a big school and just fall in line, or you can come to a location, build the program back up, and forever write your name in cement in this institution. And that was a no-brainer because again, like growing up on the east side, all these other trials and tribulations that we had to face, through it all we found ways to persevere.
Right.
We always got it the right way, but we got it the tough way. But that's why we have so much character. So going to Washington State was, let me help build this program. And now, like, as you can see on my chest, like, I love my school. But my school loved me just as much.
You got that pride about Dorsey, too. A lot of y'all Dorsey dudes, man, I be seeing the Dorsey dudes, they be wearing the green mouthpieces. They wear the Dorsey Under Armours wherever they go. You got to know, that's one thing, probably shouldn't say this on camera, but that's one thing I feel like Dorsey has kind of like over Crenshaw. It's like the pride is just a little bit different. I feel like that we may not necessarily have it. I'm speaking for myself, so I could be wrong for you.
You speak for everybody.
Nah, relax. Hey, look, every chance he get, he try to throw a little jab at us. But it's all good though.
I'm here to haymaker.
I'm 4-0. You know what I mean? I'm 4-0. That's the. Oh, he trying to. All right, bet. Oh, wait. I got 3 college football rings. You good. I got 3 college football rings. Don't do that, baby. You good? You know what I'm saying? So, now, when you finally get to your university, Miss Allison was in an 8-month coma.
Yeah.
And right before the first game, you get the news.
Yeah. How
did you keep your mind together and not fall off? Because for a lot of people dealing with this type of situation, it can easily take you just out of everything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So how did you keep your mind right and just stay focused and continue on the mission?
To be honest, I'm still trying to figure it out. But I think my mom prepared me for that moment.
Okay.
We grow up in a situation where, again, we're always at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
But we find ways to overcome. Now, you know how close I was to my mom. You got a chance to, you know, talk with her, and, you know, my mom loved everyone. So
that was a demo legend, too. She didn't even play for the demo.
Absolutely. So the part that I didn't understand was why my mom, because she was such a good-hearted person. But I was told never to put a question mark where God put a period. Once I kind of, you know, collected my thoughts, I realized that if I don't carry out the mission that she has set forth for me, I'll be doing her a disservice. And all the work that she did would be in vain. So I think that was the motivating factor. And then, again, I think another thing was I left and went off to college. So, like, I felt like I was just away in college. But then every time I came back home, I felt that pain. But that's why I stay so busy right now. I'm always doing something. So to answer your question, I don't know where the strength came from. All I can say is I think it came from her embedding it in me at a young age to never allow, as Nip said, a hard time to humble us.
Yeah,
exactly.
You can't have that. You cannot have that. And you got to understand that hard times come with the game.
Absolutely.
And come with life. And if you ain't ready to fight back, you're going to lose all the time.
All the time.
You're going to lose all the time. So you go out, you play your first game as a freshman with Wazoo. After all that, you know, how did you feel to be able to step out on that field? Because you're on a big stage now. You know, mainly playing special teams as a freshman. Being on that big stage. I know a person like you probably thought somebody about to feel all my pain.
Somebody got to feel me.
So you know, stepping out on the field and just being able to experience Division I football for what it is. What was that experience like? You know, stepping out there and getting able to prove yourself.
It's what my mom had, you know, always wanted. I think if I could have had her there to experience it with me, it would have been like 10 times as better. But it's like when you run out on that field and you hear like over 40, 50, 60,000 people screaming, I think it puts you in another zone. So I think that's the part that I fed off of is, you know, knowing that the mission was done as far as getting to college and, you know, playing in the first college game. But then, like, when you think about it in the back of your mind, like, she'll always be there with you no matter what.
The energy is always
there.
The energy is always there. Now, prior to your junior season, you were named to All-State Good Works team for charitable work. Now, you've always been doing this stuff off the field.
Right.
Where do you get that type of work ethic from to be just as dedicated on the field and off the field? Just how do you do this stuff?
Well, you know, like, again, my mom had us at church, you know, giving back to the homeless on Mondays and I think Thursdays. So we had to always help. And then again, my mom was the type of woman who always helped anybody that she came in contact with. So I kind of got it, you know, naturally that way, is to always help. Like, I think we're blessings to be blessings to others.
Yes.
So that's one of the things that I've always prided myself on. And then again, like, I play football in a small college town. So they put athletes on pedestals. If I can make a child's day or an older person's day by just sitting down talking with them and you know, playing games with them, I mean, it doesn't take that much out of my day. So I think that was the dope part about why I'm always giving back, because I can make a person's day. Like, if we can inspire a person to be great or give a person a talking piece for the day, I think you did your job.
Like Nif said, the highest human act is to inspire.
Absolutely.
That's a big one. You better know it. Now, junior season, you became a starter, you know, and also voted team captain. And I recall you speaking on when you came in as a freshman. You thought to yourself, I'm about to go in there, I'm about to be the man just off top. So when you got there, you realized that it's a process to this. Now, what are some of the lessons that you can look back and say that you learned, and understanding that as a freshman, I wasn't as prepared as I am today to be able to handle this type of pressure? Because you know the game is fast.
Absolutely.
And if you,
the
game is quick. So if you ain't ready,
Yeah.
it's either you're gonna get with the program or we're gonna kick you to the curb.
Yeah.
So how, what was that process in developing your mental and keeping yourself intact for that?
Patience is a virtue.
Mm-hmm.
I think, you start to realize that Rome wasn't built overnight.
Yes.
So you have to learn the skill in order to, gain the knowledge to perform at a high level.
Mm-hmm.
And then like everything happens for a reason. I needed that humbling experience. I came in as, a top recruit to Washington State. I came in, with all these accolades, but mentally I wasn't ready for what the game had to offer. I need to take a step back and appreciate my position to enjoy the fruits that grew from the hard work that I put in. So I think that was the thought process in holding on. And then again, it gave me a different level of grind, like a different level of understanding, a different level of commitment. And I apply that same philosophy in my life now. So like, again, when I didn't pass the bar the first time, I just reverted back to my training. You don't rise in your level of goodness, I guess. Like you fall back to your level of training. So when I figured out I'm not the man on campus no more, it gave me a different level of grind at that moment.
Yeah, that's always going to be a wake-up call. When you're so used to being that guy, and you coming from not being that. And some people can fall off because of that, but you got to make sure you keep your head strong, like you said. So what was some of the most memorable moments that you got at Washington State? Being out there balling, I done seen Jeremiah make a couple tackles, stand up and do his flexion and all that, get up. So what was some memorable moments? Of course, we know the Apple Cup. Yeah. But besides the Apple Cup, give us a moment that you'll never forget.
I think it was my first game starting. My first game starting was against number 2 Oregon my junior year. Mariota, Heisman winner that year.
Yeah, it was loaded.
It was loaded. It was loaded. And I remember like the week before we played Nevada and we got hit by Nevada. And Coach Leach was like, we got to get Jeremiah on the field. And Coach Wilson, my linebacker coach, who's now at Oregon, he was like, well, we can make that happen. Just have a good practice. So he said, like, literally the week of, like, you're gonna start this week.
Just like that.
Just like that. You're gonna start this week. And I remember heading up to the game, I felt like nothing was going right in the sense of my mouthpiece felt too big. I felt like my cleats was too tight. But then once I made that first tackle, everything else was history after that.
And so people gotta understand the first game jitters are real. Especially when you about to be a starter for the first time ever. You don't want to mess up. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So you in front of millions.
And in that game, did you do double-digit tackles?
I did double-digit tackles that game. I had I think 11, and the next week after that,
was hungry.
What? Hey, listen, somebody got to fill all these 2 years I wasn't starting.
He said he was hungry. I feel it. So, and then being able to do it against them. How complete did you feel once you got that start? Because you actually went on and started basically the rest of your time at Washington State. How did you feel just knowing like I'm a starter at this stage? And how much more did that help you in your work ethic and knowing that I'm that much closer to this dream?
You put me in the game, I'll hustle the rest. You know what I'm saying? And once you get that opportunity, once you get thrusted in that position, you seize the moment no matter what. And these are times where you lay in your bed at night, you look up at the ceiling and be like, man, like you played in your head. And then once you make it happen, everything else is easy. The game has always been easy for us. We just needed the opportunity. And that's in everything in life, in my opinion. Like, we just need the opportunity. Like, we will grind and like we're like stock. You invest in us, we'll pay you back in dividends. We'll pay you back in dividends. So I think once I got the opportunity, I was fine with it.
Did you notice what was one of the things I have to ask all football players this? What was one of the things you noticed from playing Pop Warner in high school and then going to college, as far as because you got to watch film forever, you got to study real hard. What was one of the biggest things that you noticed? Like, I got to make sure I pay attention to this. If I don't, it might hurt.
The little things, man. Like, so, like, for instance, like, understand, like, something simple as like a lineman's like stance. Like, if their knuckles is red, they coming at you.
Knuckles, what?
If their knuckles are red, like if they heavy on their hand.
Okay.
If they heavy on their hand, they coming at you. If they barely touching the ground, if they pulling. I mean, you get to time, you get to noticing signals. I mean, Utah, Travis, I forgot his name, the quarterback. Every time he like fake clap, I knew the ball was coming right out. You know what I'm saying? So you get to see little things that, or what do they call it, cadences or triggers that players have. So it's like literally watching film was key. But then again, you also, like, when you pour 100% of you into something, other things may suffer.
Facts. That's how it is, though. And see, that's why they say you have to be selfish.
Absolutely.
And it may not sound right to somebody who has not gone through what you go through, but you got to be selfish. It has to be about you, like Nipsey said. Got to focus on yourself. Like, why do I say self? Got to focus on yourself, like the only child. Now, what is Jeremiah looking at? As we can understand you coming out looking at the hands. You're looking for the cadence. What else is Jeremiah looking at before he goes on a blitz or before he drops back into coverage?
On the blitz, I'm looking at the person in front of me, and he got to feel me. You know, like you all as playing for the demos, we're aggressive people. We're aggressive human beings.
Yeah.
Like
taught to hit helmet to helmet.
We're aggressive human beings. So like, my whole thing was like play like out the gate. If I'm blitzing, I might blow the blitz just to let him know that I'm here. You know what I'm saying? But then after that, you got him leaning. So now I can palm play him after this. If I'm dropping in coverage, it's like, okay, like. Is it 2x2? Okay, how far do I got to flank out? How fast do I got to give it? If I'm under cover 2, like how deep do I got to get? Is the quarterback a deep thrower? Like, is he a runner? So you just got to know all these things before making your judgment to do whatever it is you're going to do.
Now, when you went to college, you were a double major. Boy, oh boy. Explain to me, because, okay, all I know was going to college majoring in one thing, but to be a double major and to maintain such a high GPA.
Yeah.
Explain to me what the what the method was. You got to go to practice at 6 in the morning.
6 in the morning. Well, weightlifting at 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
Then you got class at around 8.
Yeah.
Then you got film at like noon to 1. Then you got to be on the field by 3. Then you got dining hall at 7, and then you got tutoring sometimes at 8 to 9, and then you know hopefully get some more food in you. Then you sleep by 10 to 11, and you back at it doing the same thing.
But you got to study for 2 majors at once.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to be very tired, bro. You had to be a tired dude.
Listen. I look back on it now, and I'm like, I was tripping.
To it up.
But I think, like I said, like I've always found a way to differentiate myself from other people, and that was one of the ways that I did. Is like, you know, like what you put in is what you're gonna get out. So I mean, now we can sit down and we can have this discussion, and I can say I did X, Y, and Z, but someone's watching your show, and they're gonna say, well, if Jeremiah can do it, I can do it too.
Exactly. That's the point of the whole thing. That's the point of Clapitup LA right there. You got to know it. Now, your senior season, you get 97 tackles, 3.5 sacks. You get a pick against Wyoming, and you recorded 11 tackles versus Rutgers and UW in the Apple Cup against your god brother, J.Brock Mickens. You balled out. Now, what was it like stepping out on the field playing against J.Brock? I seen y'all. Y'all wasn't playing brother-in-law on the field. It was real good enemies out there.
Yeah. So, again, like, we've been playing together for so long, it got to the point where like we wanted to figure out like who exactly was the best. We're competitive, you know what I'm saying? But it was all like between the lines, you know, we enemies.
Yeah, enemies.
Outside the line, we love each other.
Flat out.
So I got the best of him the first year. I beat him the first year, you know what I'm saying? So of course he was gonna get some get back, you know, the next few years. And it was just that first of all it was dope because you know, we grew up through the trenches together, and we were both like stars on our team. I think the better part about it was after the game, we got a chance to see, you know, Auntie Judy and, you know, like the family, and it was all a celebration because, again, like at the end of the day, like our goal was to get to college and do our thing. But for us to do our thing at a high level, it kind of put the cherry on top of everything else.
Yeah. I was out there doing your thing too, man. Shout out that Apple Cup. That's something real serious. I don't know about that Apple Cup.
It's cold. That's what it is. It's cold.
That is cold. Now, and it's crazy because see, when you, I remember when I went to Crenshaw, Coach Price, man, you got to shout out Coach Price. Before we played against Dorsey, he gave us the coldest speech in the world, and it built up all the hatred I needed for y'all. Like that, it just set the fire, like just crazy. So when you got on campus, how long did it take you to understand the seriousness of the Apple Cup?
At Washington State?
Yeah.
My freshman year. So actually I take that back. It was at my sophomore year, but I went over to Seattle to hang out with J.Brock.
Oh, okay.
And what happens is people in the Seattle area, they turn their nose up at Washington State. No lie. Like they look at us like we're, less than, or we're a little brother or sister school. Yeah. And my thing is I will not be disrespected. Yeah. So like that's when I understood it. Like they look at us like we're less than. They feel like their rivals are Oregon. I'm like, no, y'all gonna feel this. So I think that was when I understood the rivalry. And then again, like Washington State is similar to Dorsey as far as a close-knit community. Yeah. So everybody got a sense of pride. I was over in Italy one year, and I said "Go Cougs," and somebody in the back of the bus yelled "Go Cougs." You know what I'm saying? So like we're everywhere. But it's like you have to go to Washington State to feel that type of magic that I'm trying to convey through my words.
Yeah, you know what? One time I wore a USC sweater. My mom went to USC, so I wore her sweater to UCLA one day. Boy, I was
yeah, she went to SC.
Boy, I was getting cussed out, and it was just like me being on the street somewhere. Like people were disgusted with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were F USC.
Yeah, absolutely.
UCLA. I mean, dude stopping in front of me, spitting in my face. I'm like, hold on.
Yeah, hold up now. Wait, hold on. I'm still from the side.
Come on now. I mean, but you got to understand it, the rivals. That's why me and him joke around the whole Dorsey Crenshaw thing, because the rivals are fun. You know, it's really fun, and it's something that, man, I wish everybody could experience on a level that we get to experience. So after your senior season, you were featured on the NFL Network Undrafted. Yeah. Now, how was that experience and knowing that you would even be on that?
It was amazing. So basically how it happened was, someone reached out to me and said, do you want to be on a show called Undrafted? And I'm like, no, like I want to get drafted. What? Yeah, I want to be on something called Undrafted. Yeah. But then they said, Jeremiah, you get a platform to tell your story. And I said, can I do it the way I want to do it? He said, yes, named Michael Gleaton. And I said, okay, if I can do it the way I want to do it, I'll love to do it. Yeah. And my whole thing is I like to shine light on other people in the community. Yeah. So if you ever notice my segments, I was always at locations, but someone was always with me. Because I didn't just build this person you see before you today. It took a village. So my goal was to shine light on people that assisted me along that path. And it was just a thank you. Yeah. Let them tell their stories about me. I mean, I never want to seem arrogant. I never want to seem boastful. But it's just one of those things where they can tell you a better story about myself than I can, because they've seen the outside looking in where I may have been blind to. So it was a dope piece. It was up for an Emmy, and I didn't know it touched all corners of the globe, because I was over in Italy, and a guy in Italy said, man, I seen your show Undrafted, and I just want to thank you for coming over here and helping with the football program over here. So for that piece to reach so many people, I know I did my job telling my story the way I wanted to tell my story.
Hey, it was a great story, man. If y'all haven't seen it, y'all can still go on YouTube and check that out and just listen to Jeremiah's story along with everybody else's story, man. Everybody got something and they made it out of somewhere. Now you take it from the east side to Italy. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're going to call that right there.
I like that.
Now, you went to go play pro football in Italy with the Milano Rhinos for Coach Chris Ault, who also offered you at Nevada. Now, I know you kind of like, dang, I never expected that to happen. But, coming from the east side of LA to Europe, going out there, being able to experience that type of lifestyle, how grateful were you to be able to be out there, and how much traveling did you do while you were there?
Listen, it was the best decision I've ever made in my life. I remember I was working in the Senate when I got the option to go play over there. And Coach Olt, legendary coach, created the pistol offense, Coach Colin Kaepernick, Coach, Brandon Marshall, and a lot of other, athletes. He reached out to me and he said, Jeremiah, you told me no in college. You can't tell me no again.
Oh, he got you like that? Okay.
Yeah. And I was like, man, I turned down offers to play in Canada. I turned down offers to play in other locations. I'm like, if it's not the NFL, I really don't want to do it. And Senator Mike Baumgartner, who I was working for at the time in Olympia, he said, have you ever been out the country? I said, no. He said, leave my office. You did enough work here. Go, one, scratch that football itch, but two, just go have fun. Like you're a kid. You're only, 22, 23? Go have fun. And Europe is going to be the best time of your life. So I lived in Milan for 3.5 months. And I lived right down the street from the Duomo, which, is like a legendary church. But, I mean, Milan is the fashion capital of the world. Okay. So I went over there during Fashion Week. Okay. Changed my life. Best experience I ever made in my life. And I got a chance to travel all around Europe. So I went to France. I went to Germany. I went to Albania. I went to Switzerland. And then, I seen these things that you see on TV. Like I went up and touched the Eiffel Tower. You know what I'm saying? I got a chance to, go to Venice and ride on the gondolas. I got a chance to go to Florence. I got a chance to go to Rome and walk past the Coliseum. And we right by the Coliseum. But I got to go to the real Coliseum.
You got the real OG.
So exactly.
Yeah.
So I got a chance to do all this stuff, and it was like a chance of a lifetime. But one thing it does that I didn't know it presents is I got a chance to talk to other people about my experiences and how they travel. So it gave me a different language to speak to people. Yeah. So now when I'm in these board meetings or whatever the case may be, someone say, "Oh, like I went to Italy." I say, "Oh, like did you go to Duomo?" Wait, you know what the Duomo is? Yeah. So it just creates another avenue to have another conversation.
Now, when you think about the way that you grew up, because we only know where we at. That's all we know. We only know our environment. And you get the chance to soak in that environment and understand how much different things are over there. What are some of the things that you learned out there that may never apply out here, just as far as their lifestyle and our lifestyle? What were some of the different things that you learned?
Just the love of, and I'm just speaking from a football standpoint, but just the love of the game. Over there, the Americans are the only ones that get paid. And the other guys the Italians on the team are just playing for the love of the game. But it took me back to that Pop Warner stage where we were just playing just for the love of the game. Like we wanted to beat, the LA Sheriff. We wanted to beat the Titans. We wanted to beat the Carson Colts, the Baldwin, Bruins. Like we wanted to beat all of those individuals just because we wore demos across our chest. And it took me back to that time because again, when you get into high school, you plan for a scholarship. When you get into, college, you plan to play in the pros. But everything is a business from that point. Now it's just strictly for the love of the game. So I remember why I fell in love with the game and why I, enjoy my teammates so much.
That's different. Did y'all win a championship out there?
So we won the European championship, but we won the Italian championship, but we missed on the European championship. We played teams from Germany, France, so on and so forth.
So did you go to Germany?
I did.
What?
I did, yeah. Playing football.
I would see, you know what? I would imagine because this is what I'm used to, bro. I'm used to this. Like, so you go out there. Is it like a lot of rocks? Like they make it seem like
it's beautiful. It's beautiful, man. Like it's literally, the most amazing. Like, again, like there is some rough areas. I had a teammate who was in France, but he lived in Bobigny, which is the hood of France. So Bobigny is where a lot of the individuals from the Congos migrate to and so on and so forth. But I went over there during the election time. So the election got really, really crazy. And y'all walk down the street, you seen broken windows and stuff like that. So there's, hood.
Like they was rioting.
Exactly. Jeez. But like for the most part, man, like it's so beautiful. And the food is so fresh. And
that's what I was going to ask about the food, bro.
Man. I went over there and almost got in trouble. You know what I'm saying?
With the food?
Oh yeah, man. Because everything is so fresh. Like I came back over here to the station. Like I can't eat pizza the same way. I fell in love with gelato. I don't look at ice cream the same way.
What do you think? What do you think is the difference, though? I mean, you say it's fresh, but what is it? Is it? Do you taste a difference in the flavor? Is it the feeling of the food? Is it the way that makes you feel once it gets inside your body?
I think it's one of those things where one, love goes into making it, and then two, like it's not. I think the word I'm looking for is like a gluttony type thing.
Yeah,
like
a lot of our stuff is genetically modified for us to be addicted to it.
Exactly. Not over there. Over there, it's fresh. Like I think once the tomato's done for the day, they throw it out and get new ones. You know what I'm saying? So I love it. I love the food. I love the experience, and I love all the connections I made over there. I actually immersed myself in that culture, learned Italian and all that good stuff.
Oh, so you know Italian too?
See, it's similar to Spanish.
Oh, okay. So you ain't gonna be able to sneak too much buying.
Not that much.
He's gonna catch you up on that first. Now we gotta clap it up for him. You know what I'm saying? Being able to do that. And was there a moment that you got homesick though?
Oh yeah, man. So everybody know me. I love fried chicken.
Yeah. Oh.
It wasn't fried chicken over in Italy. I had to go to France to get fried chicken or make it myself. Yeah.
How long was that drive?
So I just jumped on a flight. A flight was only like maybe 20 euros.
The homie said he had to hop on the flight.
Yeah, I had to jump on the flight to go to France to get fried chicken. Yeah.
Just to get fried chicken.
Just to get fried chicken, yeah.
Hey, I mean, you gotta live it. You gotta live it. You gotta experience it to the fullest. Being able to be out there, man, it sounds like a blessing. Yeah. It sounds like you took full advantage of that, and I want to congratulate you on doing that and being able to experience that as well. You served in Washington State's legislature as session aide to Senator Michael Baumgartner.
Yep, that's the name.
Okay, and in which you were the only African American in his caucus. A caucus is a group of supporters or members in a political party or movement. For those of you who may not know, how was that feeling to be the only African American guy in there? And also, he felt that you would be able to provide a different outlook on things specifically.
So it was a unique experience because, again, like, this is based on me coming right after football.
Okay.
Didn't really understand the whole political party thing. Again, like, my whole thought process was football. Michael Bumgarner went to Washington State, so that's where my networking came with him.
Okay.
And once, the football thing didn't pan out, he said, come work in the office and so you can see how sausage is made. Sausage is pretty much the laws. And then,
that's crazy. Sausage,
like, what? Yeah. And then, he's a Republican or whatnot. Okay. And again, like, typically, you don't, like, where we come from, you don't really have like a political party, or you identify as Democrat. So my whole thing was, like, I didn't have a political party. I just wanted to know, like, what was what. And when I got into the office, he was like, Jeremiah, you're tasked with telling me why I should endorse this bill. The bill was called Ban the Box. Now, typically that's a Democratic bill. Ban the Box eliminates the question, are you a felon, from the job application. Okay. It's a Democratic bill. He said, why should I endorse it? I actually got on the Senate floor and spoke on behalf of the bill. Again, I got family members who have felonies on the record. So I can speak to it, but it's not just because of what I researched, but it's from the heart. How do you expect, that's why the recidivism rate is so high, because people who got felons, they feel like they had lost cause. I don't think a person should have to serve a life sentence for, X, Y, and Z just because they have a felony on their record. So once I gave him the pros and the cons, he endorsed the bill, it became a law. He walked across the aisle to the Democratic side, and it became a law in the state of Washington. And I had something to do with that law in the state of Washington, Oh,
we got to clap up for that, man. What? That's big. You got something to do with that.
Yeah.
Now, when you were able to speak your mind on such a stage like that, to where it's basically life-changing for people.
Absolutely.
How big of an impact, or how complete do you feel as a person, knowing, man, I just had something to do with this?
I don't think it hits me until years down the line when I tell somebody, oh yeah, I worked on Ban the Box, and they cut me off. I know that bill. I know somebody who benefited from that bill. I think that's when it hits me. But I mean, for me, I feel like I'm just writing a story right now. And I can't look back on it because, like, I don't want to, like, get caught up in, like, smelling the press clippings. It goes back to our original conversation. But I mean, to know that I impacted someone's life in a positive direction, or a positive way rather, speaks volumes to not just how we were, brought up, but also, like, all the work that my mom put in, because she helped people. So.
Yeah, man, that was huge. Now, you said you got your degree from Washington State for your mom, but the law degree was for you. He did both of them. You gotta clap it up for that. So, and being able to even experience being on that level in a what you call that, a session A, to be able to do that. What are some of the conversations you got to have with some people who were up there to be able to help you understand? Oh, I'm almost there.
Yeah. So, like, again, in that space, you're encountering tons of lawyers.
Right.
You're encountering tons of politics. So the conversation, changes. Like, they're telling you about, like, what their experience was like in law school. They're telling you about why they feel this way about a bill, or why they feel this way about law. So it just kind of shaped my thought process on what I want. Like, the goal is, when you talk to people, you pick and choose what you want, and then you discard the rest that you don't want. So when I'm able to have these conversations with these people, I'm picking and choosing what I want to apply to my life. But, like, some of the things that I've learned about, just the legal realm is, like, understanding the Supreme Court justices, or understanding, like, the constitutional laws, and, so on and so forth. So I got a chance to be in that space, but then understand that I got there because I belonged there, not because it was a favor. So it gave me a sense of confidence.
That's good. Now, they said you were walking around with guys who carried AR-15s.
I got a picture if you want to see it, man. Yeah. So, like, gun laws is, like, huge everywhere, especially now. So basically, I was, walking to the office, and it was like a NRA day where they came out to the Capitol, and I mean, me, I'm curious by nature, so I seen the guy, and I'm like, hey, like, how you doing? And he was like, he turning around with an AR-15.
He pointed at you?
No, he didn't point at me. He didn't point at me, because, again, like, one thing that I had for me going in the state of Washington was I played at Washington State.
Okay.
So people knew who I was because
yeah.
I've always put Washington State on a pedestal. I love the school that I go
Yeah,
to.
man, he took a flag
Yeah.
to the service for.
Oh, yeah,
and said,
absolutely.
yeah, I did it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, I took
yeah.
my Washington State flags to Italy and flew it. So
Yeah,
it's just like, because people can relate to the Washington State brand, they're able to relate to me.
Right.
And my whole thing is I want to be a bridge for tons of people because I think I have that type of platform to unify people.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, no, understood, and that's very powerful to be able to unite people. That's a very, very powerful thing. Instead of just always wanting to be me, it's all about me. So you get into Mitchell Hamlin. How was that situation, and how long did it take for you to figure out? Okay, I got accepted. Like, what was that like?
So basically, after I finished the program called Clio at Mitchell Hamlin, because it was hosted there this year, which was by fate, because I'm from Minneapolis. Okay. It was hosted in the state of Minnesota. And I blew the program out of the water, and I was set to go to Idaho for law school.
So what was that program like, though?
So basically, it's a 5-week boot camp for law school. So they give you all the first year courses: torts, criminal law, evidence, and then the writing course. Okay. I killed the class portion of it. I've always been a really good student. And then they were like, okay, Jeremiah, where are you going to law school? I said, I'm going to Idaho for law school, which is right next to Washington State.
Oh, so you thought you were going somewhere else?
I was supposed to go to Idaho.
Oh,
wow.
They're
the reason why I got into that program. It's because, they said, if you pass, because my LSAT score was not the best. Yeah. So they were like, if you pass this program, we'll let you into law school. So I did the program, and I passed the program, and I, caught the eyes of the dean of the school and a few professors. They're like, how much is Idaho offering you? We'll beat the offer. I applied July 29th. I got in August 2nd, and then I was like, Dad, I'm coming to law school here.
Wait. So you applied July 29th, got in 3 days later,
3 days
4
later.
days later?
3 days later.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. And then they were like,
that special month of August.
Exactly. So I didn't have anywhere to stay. I didn't, I didn't make arrangements to live anywhere. And my dad was like, just come stay with us. So it was like a perfect way
Dang, that was all on faith.
Exactly, a perfect way to reunite with my father. And, also it kept down on the expenses in law school and all that good stuff. So that was kind of how I arrived at Mitchell Hamlin. I knew nothing about it.
That's crazy. Hey, handle your business. You never know what'll happen. Yeah. Now, when you first got to Mitchell Hamlin, you were facing academic probation. And you said it wasn't I didn't work hard enough. I did not know legal writing. Yeah. So you went out, you got a tutor, you took that 2.0 GPA to a 2.22 or 2.27.
No, I went up to a 2.9.
Okay, you went to 2.9, excuse me.
Excuse me,
2.9. And you cleared probation. Now, speaking of this, because people don't really understand that you have to struggle. Right. There's always a lesson in what's going on. Right. So you not knowing legal writing, you figured out the problem and you did everything you had to handle the solution. Right. What was the thought process in that whole situation? Did you ever feel shaken? Did you ever feel like, man, this is,
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I remember when I found out my grades, I was actually with my publicist and a guy by the name of Randall. I was at his house. Okay. And I checked my grades and it was like a 2.07. I'm like, I've never had C's before, like
this is foreign.
This isn't me. This can't be me. And I remember I was just kind of like, taken back because I'm like, I've been in these situations before where you face adversity. So of course, I was disappointed because I had thought I executed. But when I went in and talked to the professor, I'm like, somebody got to tell me what happened, where I went wrong.
That's what counts.
They were shocked that the exam and the grades were mine because everything is blind grading. Like they don't know that you're just a number in law school. So when I told them, they were like, why did I get a C? They were like, wait, this is yours? Wow, you know the law, Jeremiah. And then we went over the exam and they were like, okay, so here's the thing. There's a difference between creative writing and legal writing. Creative writing, you have to follow this formula, IRAC, issue, rule, analysis, conclusion. And it's going to seem very mechanical, but that's how he wants you to give us the answer. And then also give us the answer as if you're talking or explaining it to a third grader. If you do that, you'll get the good grades.
That sounds like too much. That sounds like a lot. What? Yeah. IRAC. So you got to make sure it's professional, but understandable enough for the third grader.
For a third grader, exactly.
So you got to be careful with all the big words and stuff, right?
They call them legalese. You can't be doing that.
That's hilarious right there. So how long did it take you to adjust to that and be able to fix that?
Just a semester. It only took me a semester. That's why I had a huge jump from the fall semester to the spring semester is because once you show me the formula, everything else is fine. My work ethic will never be the problem. it would always be because I don't know something. But again, you don't know what you don't know. Unfortunately, like when you only get one opportunity to prove yourself in law school, that may be your downfall. So you only get exams at the end of the year. And we only had those exams, so that's the only time I could prove myself. So that's why I was on academic probation. And again, at Mitchell Hamlin, when you're on academic probation, they put you in a class where just the other individual in academic probation, maybe like 5 to 10 other people. So you're in a small setting, and then you can't take the other courses that the other law students are taking. And then when you're in the law field, everybody walks around with a sense of, in my opinion, entitlement, because again, like you're going into a profession that not a lot of people can do. So me being so competitive, when I wasn't in that top group, I felt some type of way about myself. But again, I reverted back to my training at Washington State, not starting. And
you have to work your way up.
There you go.
Yeah, you have to work your way up. Don't be afraid to make the comeback, people. Sometimes you got to come back in life. And like I said earlier, it's either you gonna do it or you not. You gonna sink or swim. Which one you gonna do? You only got 2 options. Now, you also do you currently work at Medtronics?
Yeah.
So you're working at Medtronics, and they make pacemakers. In which you say your mom needed a pacemaker.
Yeah.
So how important is it for you to be able to hone in on that job and make those connections? And how happy are you to be in that specific field, knowing the situation with your mom?
So I just love the company that I work at, just due to the fact that the mission of Medtronic is to alleviate pain, extend life, and to just benefit health. And my mom, she needed a pacemaker to survive.
Yes.
And being at a company that could have saved her life allowed me to just have a different appreciation for the job. So I'm not walking in the doors thinking like, oh, like I don't want to be here. Like I'm walking in the doors like I can't wait to get there. And then again, like I'm on the legal side of things, so I see all the dope things that they're doing within the company and all that good stuff. So I just I couldn't land it at a better place.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's God given right there. Just make sure you keep working. God gonna put you in the right place all the time, and you have to understand that for the sake of me. Now, okay, so you did not pass the first bar test.
Right.
Okay, now to prep for the second bar exam, in a course of 5 months, you wrote out a total of 120 essays. That's every bar exam from 2011 to 2020.
Absolutely.
Who's working like that? Now, whose idea was it? Where did you? Why was this the solution?
Because like when you don't pass the bar the first time, they tell you where you went wrong.
Okay.
My thing was my essays.
Okay.
Essay writing is one of those things where if you don't use it, you'll lose it.
Okay.
So I wasn't writing essays like I was my first semester, my first year in law school, because again, like we had graduated from that portion of writing. So when I realized that writing essays was my Achilles heel, I'm like, okay, well, in order for me to pass this bar the second time, I gotta attack my weakness. Just like in football, if you realize that dropping is your weakness, you work on it. If you realizing that tackling is your weakness, you work on it. So I realized writing was my weakness. The only way I can, write or become a better writer was attack my weakness. But again, I'm an overachiever in some fields. So I realized that the answers are right there in front of me. All I gotta do is just pick it up and read them. So I wrote every single essay from 2011 to 2020 that the board examiners had to offer.
Now, did you have to study that study the essay before you write it?
So basically, they give you a fact pattern.
Yeah.
They say they tell you the issue, and then you got to analyze the fact pattern.
Yeah.
And you only have 33 minutes to write each essay. Yeah. And on the bar, how the bar set up, the bar is a 2-day event. On the first day, you have 2 essays in the morning. Each essay is you have an hour and 30 minutes to write each one. And then you have a lunch break. Then you come back and you got 6 essays to write. Each essay got to be 33 minutes. And basically you got to just make sure you manage your time properly. So the law is the law. It really doesn't change. You have to know the law. But the kicker is they don't tell you what law is going to be on there. Meaning, you can study these areas of law, but they're not going to tell you which one's going to be on there.
Oh yeah, that's just like the SAT.
Exactly.
Wow,
So,
that's crazy. So you just had to go out there, and that was the only solution to write all of them. Just to make
cover
sure.
it all.
Yeah,
cover it all.
That was it. 120 essays, people. If y'all don't know nothing about work ethic, 120 essays is enough for you to understand. You just got to go there sometimes.
Absolutely.
And so, boom, you passed, bro. And It's just like being drafted. Just like being drafted. You woke up that morning, they said at 1:30 in the morning, started doing your workout. You checking your phone every 20 minutes. 8:08. 8:08. That special moment right there. And you posted on Instagram, him and his sister Mary, and also your nephew in celebration. You know, thinking about everything that you had been through in life, going into that moment right there, which is just recent. So we just getting started. That moment right there. How grateful are you from even going through the struggles that you had to go through coming up as a kid, having that humbling lesson, having to be on academic probation, to still making it at this point in time? How grateful are you for just the whole entire process?
I'm beyond grateful. It built character. It built me into the person I am today, because you can't have a testimony without a test. And I was thankful for, like I said in my post, I was thankful for all the rejections. I was thankful for all the you know, the trials and tribulations, because all it did was it made me come back stronger than ever. And then, like I said, today's draft day. You know,
facts.
Today's
right
draft day. Exactly. So people lives are going to be changed today. I didn't get a chance to experience what it was like to be drafted on draft day, but I got a chance to be a professional in my own right when I opened that letter and found out I would be a lawyer for the rest of my life. So that was the unique part of my journey so far, is I got it the honest way, and it all happened because of the hard work that I put in after experiencing failure.
That's the most important thing. You have to, like he said, there is no testimony without a test. You can't even say testimony without saying a test. So you have to understand it's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Hold your head up high, stick your chest out, give all the glory to God, and give it everything you got. Now, the Allison Hope Foundation, help others pursue excellence in honor of Miss Allison. Where did you come up with this idea and gives back to the kids? You're doing something for single mothers also.
This Saturday,
Okay, so you know, explain to us the whole idea. You actually won a competition with your boy at Green Bay. Y'all did something. I think that was that was you introducing the situation. So where did you come from with the idea with the foundation, and what's some of the goals that you want to be able to accomplish? So the Allison Hope Foundation is a way to give back. I'm huge into philanthropy work. Like I said, I think we're blessings to be blessing to others. I felt like my mom's life was short-lived, even though she lived a full life, in my opinion. I felt like it was cut off too soon. So my goal is to constantly keep her legacy going. Hence why I always use the hashtag keep it going. And one way I could do that is do things that she would always do, and that was to give back and to impact people's lives. So many people that I talk to now have like wonderful encounters with her, and like they're always bringing back memories about my mom. So like my goal is to make sure that I constantly keep those memories going. The goal is to inspire the youth. I want to be that star that people can touch. We both played in Snoop League, and it was always, you know, fascinating to me that Snoop would just hang out with us like he was one of the dudes, you know what I'm saying? Facts.
And like we can go up to him and, you know, take pictures with him and touch him, get him handshakes and all that good stuff. So he gave us a different sense of confidence and hope. I wanted to be just like that. And I got an opportunity to do that. I want to, you know, be that person that a kid looks up to and be like, well, you know, Jeremiah didn't give up, I don't got to give up either. Like I can call Jeremiah right now, he can give me advice. So that's pretty much where the Allison Hope Foundation derived from. And then again, like we have an opportunity to impact people's lives. I want to leave this world better than I found it. So that was pretty much where the Allison Hope Foundation derived from. And then with the initiatives that we do, the first thing, everything I do is near and dear to my heart. So the first thing we did was we did toy drives for kids with special needs at Dorsey, and then we also did Christmas presents for kids that's deaf. So my nephew, he's deaf, so I had to learn sign to communicate with him. And he goes to Obama Elementary over by Norbonne. So it's just amazing to impact those kids' lives in the way that we were able to do. Last year, due to COVID restrictions, we became Secret Santas, and we adopted a letter from the USPS. And this year, we trying to get it started early. So we're doing a Single Mother's Day brunch. I was raised by a single mother, and my goal is to celebrate these women. We always hear this saying, give people their flowers while they can smell them. So that's what I want to do. I want to give these single mothers their flowers while they can smell them, and then also just thank them for the work that they put in, because I feel that sometimes they're overlooked. But like, I was raised by a single mother, so like, I know the important role that they play in these kids' lives. So yeah, it's at Jackson Joe's this Saturday, and it's just a way to give back to these single mothers who do so much for not just, you know, the kids, but also the community.
Okay, so to all the single mothers, this video will be up tonight. So y'all make sure, if y'all see this, make sure y'all contact Jeremiah at JeremiahMA8 on Instagram or at the Allison Foundation, and you'll be able to also join in and get your breakfast or brunch. Excuse me, your brunch. Now, through the midst of everything that you had to go through, did anybody ever tell you or like try to discourage you or say anything negative towards what you had going on, like telling you maybe you won't make it? Did you have to deal with any of that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, like when I didn't do the whole NFL thing, a lot of people say, "Why are you giving up on your dream? Like, why are you not, you know, practicing? Why are you not training?" But a guy by the name of John Kelly, where he worked as a prosecutor in Ramsey County, where I used to work. He said, "Jeremiah, you're not at a location or a place in your life where you have to prove people wrong anymore. You just got to prove the ones who believe in you right." And it was so like heart touching to me, because it's like, I am at that point now. Like, try to channel your energy elsewhere. So of course you're gonna hear the naysayers, but again, like, that's just motivation to, you know, keep on doing what you're doing.
What's the number one thing that you wake up every day and continuously fuel that fire to be great? What's that thing for you every day?
We all got 24 hours in a day. How are you gonna, you know, utilize your time to be great?
Understood. Now check this out. It's Clapitup LA. It's J.Brock. It's Jeremiah right here. You can follow him at JeremiahMA8. Man, it's a whole lot of A's in that name. But you make sure y'all follow him. Y'all support the Allison Foundation. Jeremiah, is there anything else that you want to leave the people with?
I mean, just keep on tapping in with you. Like, I've been able to follow your journey. I love it. And then also just like to see the people that you got on. Like, one thing that you're doing is you're staying close to your roots.
Yes, sir.
But again, like, it's good to see what our people, as far as like who we grew up with, are flourishing doing. I watched the episode with Noy, and I'm like, man, like, Noy used to go to Dorsey, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean,
the all blue motorcycle.
So just keep doing what you're doing, and I mean, like, I'm a big fan, and I appreciate everything you're doing. So,
man, you already know the love is mutual. We're gonna continue to keep going up. You know what I'm saying? Giving God the glory the whole way through. This is J.Brock. It's Clapitup LA. Y'all make sure y'all tap into this video, like, subscribe, follow, do all that good stuff. We'll see you next time.